Okay, continuation of meta properties, drag and drop. Uh, how mouse handling and events are a complex bit of business, and so I'm just going to give you a slice through here, which kind of shows you the heads up on how the events, what the event system is, and how mouse events are handled, and that sort of thing. And you can, it's a complex topic. I'm not going to get deep into it, but I just want to show you how the different pieces come together. And so let me clear out some of this kind of stuff. And so as part of the morphic kernel, we have an idea of a hand morph, and the hand morph is really the cursor. This little arrow that I see, and if I move it over the edge, it changes to a different cursor and that kind of stuff. And this thing drags submorphs around, drags morphs around by treating with submorphs. So when I click on something here and drag it around, it's actually, while it's being dragged, it's a submorph of the hand. So basically the hand owns it, and when I let up the mouse and the hand doesn't, then that morph is given over to the desktop, which is the world or paste up morph on the background. Uh, and so I'm just going to focus in on grabbing and dropping. And so when a morph is dropped, let's see. First I have to get I guess I have to take a look at a little bit of the event system. So let me come over here. I can reuse this and say find class, and I'm going to say morphic event. And so again, events are a ways of doing a little dance, a communication dance, so that information can be exchanged, but without hardwiring things at a deep level into, in terms of conduits and wiring together in deep ways objects and their code and stuff. And so in particular, I want to look at a drop event and dispatch with local position. Okay, so this is used by the hand when it's seeing about dragging and dropping something. And there's a bit of business about where the mouse position is, and you have a whole bunch of mouse events, and each one is time stamped, and they have a particular it's a particular type of morphic event. It could be a keyboard event or a mouse over or whatever. And in particular for drag and drop, uh, we have a protocol for picking up and putting it down. And as this is this bit of code that goes through and says, okay, uh, we're taking a look and seeing if we have any submorphs of a morph that wants a particular event. And the interesting code is this last bit here. So if the morph allows a morph drop, so you have to say, put up your hand and say, yeah, I want drop events. And we have the point happens to be, the point of the cursor happens to be inside the area, that morph's extent. Then we'll go ahead and do a symmetric check. Okay, so if the morph wants this dropped event, and the thing I'm dropping wants to be dropped onto a morph, okay, I want her and she wants me, then I go ahead and I send myself as the event to the morph given the position I'm in. Okay, so when a drop event occurs, you get a mouse position, and you can say, this is I'm doing something special here according to that or whatever. And so how that works in the actual cursor, the hand morph, then it's going here, it creates a drop event and stuffs some information into it, and then does the event dispatch. And if the event was handled, great. Otherwise, I say, oh, gee, the drop was rejected, and I have to do whatever cleanup is required uh, for the drop event that got rejected. And so you can grovel through all this stuff at your convenience to understand it at a deep level. But I just wanted to show you that there's just a little dance and a protocol uh, that uh, that happens between uh, different morphs is going on here, and I want to go ahead and I want to take a look at implementers of wants to be dropped onto, because this is what, oops, pardon me, this is what's going on here. And in particular, there's a menu morph wants to be dropped onto, drag and drop ping panel. I am assuming I want a visual memory. Once, oh, not. I'm looking at the other part of the protocol. Sorry, not wants to be once drop morph. Sorry, I'm looking at the other end of the telescope, and the universe looks differently if you expand it rather than contract visually. So I want to go ahead and take a look at once drop morph. Okay, here we are. Visual property menu item. Okay, so the visual property menu item that now has a protocol. So when it says, it raises its hand and says, yeah, I want to take mouse drops. Okay, and so we showed that these things have their meta properties, and so they say, do I allow a value, a morph value when dropped? Okay, so that's like saying, if I'm dropping a color onto a location, I don't want that. But if I hold a color, I'm a color property, and somebody drags and drops a color on me, then I want to say, yeah, I want that. Okay, and so if I say yes, I'll take that value. Then we just use the setter. We take the property value, the morph, and we accept it. We show that an acceptance, and otherwise we show reject. And so if we take a look at show reject, and take a look at implementers, okay, and what happens here, as you see, we have we want to draw and erase a red X. So we take two line morphs, one slash, four slash, and one backslash. The color is red, and we open them up in the appropriate position, and then we have an alarm which we says, okay, we'll show you for 400 milliseconds, and then you get deleted. So let's see, I don't have any morphs up to show that, but when I was dragging and said, it was drug over something it didn't want, it says, okay, here's the red X, and so forth, and the show accept code looks pretty similar, and implementers, and here we are. So same thing. In this case, we have a frame morph, so it just draws a green frame, a little box around whatever was dropped, and says, okay, that was cool. And then we'll go ahead and actually it takes a highlight, and then it deletes it after 200 and 400 milliseconds. So that's just, again, the operational mechanics of how this stuff works together. Okay, I don't want to show you everything here because it takes a while to work through these things, but just enough for you to be able to figure out what's going on and find your way around. And the next thing I want to show next time actually is a complex bit of kit, which is the color editor. and how one would build a panel like this with a whole bunch of controls on it and that kind of stuff. And so that's what we're going to do the next time. Uh, See you next time.